He refused to respect the health of others, so police were forced to do it for him.
In the middle of a pandemic, do you think it's appropriate not to be wearing a mask?
Led away in cuffs, the man is taken into custody alongside a female companion who refused to give her name.
We were exercising.
Across the road, another man is questioned.
Democracy wins! Democracy always wins!
There might be people who feel that they've got a constraint on their liberty and need to protest it. I'd rather see them stand there naked with a mask on than not have a mask.
Ah, je vous entends, ma gang d'endoctrinés mondialistes radicaux. Je vous entends avec mes oreilles bioniques. Vous vous dites « Ah, bien fait pour ces irresponsables criminels qui vont tuer tout le monde parce qu'ils portent pas leur masque à l'extérieur. » Ah. Et maintenant, voyons voir comment les gens qui vivent dans la peur, mais qui ont quand même gardé un certain sens critique, vont réagir face à cette mère de famille qui porte le masque, mais qui ne le porte pas correctement. Il ne couvre pas sa bouche et son nez, alors qu'il n'y a personne autour d'elle, sauf les policiers qui la harcèlent. Voyons voir.
Are learning more about a coronavirus-related arrest at the Atlantic Avenue subway station in Brooklyn. You can see police taking a woman down right here after she swatted at them. This all happening in front of the woman's child. Police say the woman was told she could not ride the train because she was not wearing a face mask covering correctly and was escorted out of the station. They say she was arrested because she struck an officer. But Mayor Bill de Blasio says this went too far. He tweeted in part, quote, "Face coverings are important to protect everybody. They're not optional, but no one wants to see an interaction turn into this."
Oui, mais tu fais comme les médias que tu dénonces, là, Dan. Tu ne nous montres que des cas extrêmes. D'accord. Vous avez raison. Soyons de bonne foi. Et en plus, vous me dites, mais oui, mais il n'y a pas de danger, là. On est dans une très grande démocratie ici au Canada. OK. Vérifions donc avec des gens qui se conforment, des citoyens modèles, dans des grandes démocraties. Voyons voir.
What essentially was meant to be a 10-day working holiday, I guess you'd call it, turned into a nightmare that just doesn't seem to have any finish line.
After arriving from Hawaii on Thursday, Amber and other passengers from the Norwegian Yeule were brought to the Swiss hotel in Sydney. The ship has had no confirmed cases of coronavirus.
So this is day 2 of quarantine, and it's getting pretty harrowing actually, hearing the sounds of some of the people in the rooms next door yelling and begging to be let out of the room because they're desperate for fresh air.
Why are you keeping me stranded in here? You have no idea! You can't keep people locked up in their rooms!
No, we need
They give them nothing!
sunshine.
Yeah.
Sunshine, air!
Exercise.
I can't even get fresh air!
Amber says she's doing okay in hotel quarantine, but is deeply concerned for elderly people in nearby rooms.
There's a number of older people on their own, and then they're really suffering. I can hear people down the hallway crying, and there's a woman who's hysterical and pleading to be let out, and she's having panic attacks. Her husband's distraught. There's people who need blood pressure medication, cholesterol tablets, insulin, and they're calling me and they're asking for help, and what to do.
After she left to perform on the cruise,
Amber's other concern is being separated from her 17-year-old daughter.
And I just can't believe that it's considered okay to keep a mother away from her child like this.
When we reached the hotel, the police were with us and they took all the details of the people who were staying in the hotel, their personal details and their flight numbers. The police assured us that we'd be able to fly the following day.
They and other passengers have since been accused of ignoring quarantine orders and attempting to abscond from health officials. In a statement, the New South Wales Police Commissioner said the doctors were another example of members of the community who have not listened to the advice of the government. Jenny and her husband deny they ignored official advice and say they were preparing to go into quarantine at home.
I think it has to be done. I understand that. We just seem to have been caught somehow in some sort of time warp in a period in which we should have been able to go free, but we were held by the government in hotels for a reason we don't really understand.
Apart from emergency medical care, there is literally no reason for you to leave your home. And if you were to leave your home and not be found there, you will have a very difficult time convincing Victoria Police that you had a lawful reason.
Hundreds of military personnel are being deployed to help Victorian Police enforce the isolation orders, some of the toughest restrictions on the movement of people Australia has ever seen.
We've had to smash the windows of people in cars. We've had to smash the windows of people in cars and pull them out of there so they could provide their details, because they weren't telling us where they were going. They weren't adhering to the Chief Health Officer guidelines.
When the Chief of Victoria Police and the Chief Health Officer can't even understand the rules and don't agree with each other, how are the rest of us supposed to deal with it?
It comes as senior police confirmed 42 COVID-positive patients and close contacts have received hefty fines after they weren't at home isolating when officials came knocking. 26 people will have to pay $1,600 for their indiscretion, while the other 16 were stung almost $5,000 after an increase in the penalty this month. But those 42 are from a total of more than 30,000 people referred to police, a number that previously caused widespread outrage, but today simple excuses for why some missed the call.
Some of them were in a shower when you knocked on the door. Some of them are in the shed at the back building something, so they're not all necessarily out of their home.
2.5 weeks in and the Stage 4 sting continues. 154 people have been fined in the past 24 hours, 19 for not wearing a mask, 35 for breaching curfew, collecting takeaway food is often blamed, and 17 were picked up at vehicle checkpoints.
Over 16,000 fines have been issued since this began, and it's $1,652 fines per pop. That's a lot of money, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of fines.
How much confidence do you have that people are going to pay them?
I really hope they do.